Yes, I got
Excellent,
it.
bro. Fantastic.
Okay.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to 10 Talks. I am your host, Kyle Garza.
I am your co-host, Don Trimble.
Just say your name, dude.
Did you say co-host?
Did I?
Co-host, yes.
Did I?
I don't know. Now go back. I thought that's what you said. I'm so sorry. Let's start. Okay,
yeah,
ready?
we got it.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Nick,
No.
who are you?
Are we gonna roll with it?
I'm good with it.
Who are you?
I'm your co-host Nick Busta.
And today we're going to be talking to you guys a little bit about the subject of some of our just best date ideas
Oh yeah.
That's right.
with your beloved.
Yeah, help you out here.
Let me first establish that all of these are better when you're married.
It's true.
Naturally.
Well,
Because one of the things that's lost in our culture is the fact that people date when they're pursuing a marriage or relationship. And we often hear it said that people just kind of fall out of that habit. Make it a habit, even when you're married. Always
Yeah, that's
remember date night. The reason this is important is because some of the things I'm going to suggest involve being out at night. And that's typically not a good idea if you're just dating someone in high school and, you know, there's not a lot of people around. When you're married, that's safe, though.
There you go.
So, that being said,
well said.
I want to begin
Please.
by noting some concepts that come into what makes a great date. Like, number one, find out what bae is interested in. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You just got to figure out what it is that she likes doing.
You said
What if it's Grey's Anatomy, though? Can I just throw that out there,
No,
like, right
that's
now?
a hard pass.
Thank
That's
you.
That's a red flag.
Okay,
That is a
we
relationship.
can move on.
that
That's
you
what I'm
can
trying to say, and I just want to make sure we're...
dose
Well,
it
you're
as
the,
soon as
you did want to
possible.
be a docator.
This is true.
Like a show.
This is
And
true.
she
I
thinks that
remember.
she is now a docator.
Ah,
That's the
Because she's
problem.
talking. Okay. Got
Yes.
It. Yeah. All right.
Okay, okay.
bravo. So number one, find out what she likes.
Yep.
Yes.
Indeed.
Number two, be intentional.
Yeah.
Put thought into it.
Yeah.
Date night should not be, what are you going to do? I don't know. What episode are we on in Grey's Anatomy? That's pathetic. Guys, like, put some effort into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the third concept, this is actually one that I read in a marriage book, the only marriage book that I've ever read, which is don't be afraid to do the same thing again.
Okay.
That's true.
And the reason this was good advice is because the majority of men especially have this fear that they'll never be able to like one-up that really good date that they figured out.
Yeah.
And thus they feel like, well, in order to not fail and do a date that is less awesome, I'm just not going to do anything. So if I don't do anything, I don't fail.
Yeah.
This is a very real conversation I've had with my wife too, where it's like, I don't know, can we do this? And to me, it seems like a rueful admission of, I just want to go to the beach again. And she's like, oh, that sounds great. I'd love to go to the beach again.
Yeah.
Not surprising. So I would start with actual dates now.
Yeah.
Zoos and aquariums
Great.
make for
Absolutely.
fantastic date days.
Yeah.
Obviously, a little pricey nowadays.
Eh.
But I love animals, man. I just love them. And they're just so entertaining and so fun.
Do you guys actually take the time when you go through? Like, do you stop? Do you read? And do you just look?
Take it all in.
Well, that's
Just
kind of the
look.
fun
Depends
part.
on
though.
the
I mean,
animal.
Do you
Yeah.
really?
Well, okay,
Really depends on the animal.
I'm gonna hop on that for a second. Yeah. So like at the Santa Barbara Zoo, I don't know if they still have it
It's
there. It's
so
been a
good.
while.
So
Right.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's good
good.
too.
Great
Love it.
value.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Anyways.
And so there's an exhibit called Ew. I don't know if it's still there. And it's all
Really?
Is
yeah.
it just a bunch of teenage girls?
Ow,
Ow.
ow, ow.
Ow! Ow!
You just watch them be ridiculous.
You're in a case.
Super. This got really dark. This got really dark.
I just can.
Back to you. Is it dung beetles?
Well, that's the thing. Like the things that like creatures that typically people go, "Ew, that's gross." And so like
Sure.
Yeah.
they have the tarantulas and they have
Okay.
the dung beetles and the cockroaches. And so like
Sure.
there's not the kind of thing where like of course like Jenny wanted to go. She won't, and I'm like really. And so she enjoyed it I think more than I did. But like there's a couple things where if they're like, oh, that's gross, you don't want to go like, did you know? That kind of thing. So
Did
I mean,
you know they have their babies in poop? That's where they grow up.
it's true.
That'll win a girl's heart for sure. If she's like weirdly into entomology and she's like, oh, do they? Do they grow up in their own
And you were
feces?
saying this was
Wow.
a good date
I
you
may
had. Is this
propose
what you were
now.
claiming?
Wow,
Ooh, sorry.
that got weird.
Yep.
I can keep going down my list.
We're a
'cause I have
special
a
bunch.
thorough list and see what you guys think of it, or you can shout out yours.
I'm just realizing I just got to throw this out here right now.
Go ahead.
Okay. my wife, she's the best. And you guys have wives too.
Yeah.
And I'm
they
supposed
are
to
the
say
best.
that.
Well,
And
see,
they're the
like-
best,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we have to say. But you guys are so romantic. I want to date you both.
Wait, because
And
of
I
the
realized-
I
dog
was gonna
beetles?
say like
You have a list here, man.
Oh,
You've been
yeah.
contemplating this
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
I'm like sitting back and I'm taking this in.
Okay.
Alright,
I'm
That's
not
fair.
gonna lie. I'm just impressed right now.
May I just also say I'm glad you said that your wife is the best, because if you're like, my wife, it's not as good as yours. That'd be weird on multiple levels. So thank you for saying what you should have said.
Bravo.
And I know you believe it.
Bravo.
Yeah.
There can be multiple superlatives in the realm of wifery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So what's number
Um,
2?
Well, again, unless you
Yeah.
want to chime some in.
I'll jump in real quick.
Okay.
And so on that note of being intentional and knowing, really understanding what your beloved really wants and needs. So Jenny and I, we were gifted this early on in our marriage, and we love this thing. I highly recommend trying a tandem bicycle ride. And the reason for it is it takes a very special couple,
Yeah,
to be able
to coordinate.
To coordinate, that's the thing. And so we actually nicknamed our tandem the Marriage Builder.
You named your bike.
Oh, I name all my bikes. So
I need to name my car.
Yeah. You got a lot of catching up to do, as you can
That's
tell.
right, and so because we tell people multiple times, because it just real quick, the person in front who's called the captain. He's the one
Yeah,
who's in
naturally.
control. Well, there you go. It's typically the stronger rider between the two, because it's just the physics of the bike. But they're the one who controls the gear shifting if it has multiple gears, and the brakes. The person in the back, who's called the stoker, they are there for power and balance, but their handlebars don't move, and they have no brakes, and they have no gear shifting.
A lot of trust
That's the
involved
thing.
in the
So there's
back
a lot of
seat.
trust in the back, and therefore the person in the front has to communicate well.
It's good husband training.
There it is, right?
That's what
and
it
so we
is.
tell people it will either bring you together or it will show you are
It'll shatter
not
your
meant-
relationship
Yeah,
and let
exactly.
you know
There's
you're not
nothing in
compatible.
between.
Yeah.
So
Rad.
yeah, totally recommend and plus once you get going, like you feel accomplished and you're like, it's a representation of your relationship. Like we are working together. We're going places.
This is my bike. I call it the Crucible. That's quality. It's actually funny because one of the ones that I have on here is no hikes.
no.
Why?
Mackenzie and I are just not hikers. We
Okay.
meet so many
Because that's what
couples
she-
that are like,
okay.
"You want to go on a hike?" And
You're
we're
like-
just like, "No, that sounds awful. I'm gonna get blisters on my feet. I'm gonna get ticks from
This is
random
not what
things
you
in
want.
nature.
What do
I'm
you
gonna have
like?
Lyme disease. I'm gonna get sweaty and gross. I gotta get home and shower after that. I mean, granted, we've gone on hikes, and that's why we're speaking from experience. Like we've never gone on a hike and go, man, I felt so enriched by that.
You proposed at Elwood. That's
It's like a 5-minute walk.
okay. I'm just
This is
saying.
not a real hike.
It's not a hike at
And
all.
she wasn't expecting him to do anything romantic.
Exactly.
She's like, I hate this. Why would you? We're getting married.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I respect that because
Thank
we
you.
are just super. I mean, granted, we've gone bike riding in like Santa Barbara, but it's just like
Sure.
kind of around. Nothing really
Not the
taxing
beach,
about
that kind of thing. Yeah.
We're very leisurely daters.
That's cool.
There's power couples that I think are like true power couples where it's like, oh, we went to Yosemite and did a 10-mile whatever uphill
On our hands.
both ways
Yeah.
on our hands. I'm just like, that sounds
Not
awful.
your thing.
Like,
Not your thing.
So this is much more of what we're into. So I already said zoos and aquariums because we
Yeah.
love animals.
Mhm.
They're cute usually. One of the coolest things we go to is called the Ojai Raptor Center. The Ojai Raptor Center is a rehabilitation place for raptors, not velociraptors, but birds of prey.
That's cool.
And they have an open house twice a year. I think one in spring, one in fall. I'm pretty sure. And basically, it's like you're just standing within arm's distance of people holding like hawks, eagles, owls, kites, kestrels, all kinds of just gnarly cool birds, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
And usually it's because they have like wing damage or something
Sure.
wrong with their eyes, and so they're rehabilitating them, or they just have to keep them because they got hit by like a car somehow or another, or they hit a telephone pole
Yeah.
and got zapped or something like this. But it's one of the coolest things. Like we love birds of prey. If I could own an owl as a pet,
Oh my gosh.
oh dude, I would totally have an owl.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'd be so down for
Okay,
that.
you guys, I'm just gonna throw out the obvious here. Okay, you guys are leaving something out. Okay, and this is huge to me. Okay, you guys have kids? Do you guys have kids?
No,
We do not have kids.
that is a big difference. But mind you, our audience base ideally is not having kids either in high school.
See, because I'll have to say this because just number one. Okay, so Catherine Elaine, what she wanted children, and you know what? She deserves it. She's an amazing mother.
Great.
Okay, I just had somebody yesterday. I hope she's not going to watch this episode. They like came up to me, and I was so glad Katie wasn't right there because she's like, "How many more are you gonna have? Your kids are so cute." And I'm like, "Shh, stop, stop." But she's right. They're awesome.
Yeah.
And what's even more right is Katie's an insane mom. Like she
Yeah.
just knows things that I'm like, how
Yeah.
did you do that? Right? But it just has become even more interesting moving away from family that we loved, And now we're out
Sure.
here
Yeah,
and you're
yeah,
like, by the way, will you guys babysit for us?
Yeah.
Because I'm writing down this list.
Yeah.
But like I even think back to before and like what dating means now and it changes.
Oh, it's so
Oh,
different.
okay.
now.
Like you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about
You covet
intentionality.
that
course.
time.
No. Like
Yeah, no.
intentionality is not
I'm
the
bowing.
word.
I'm bowing.
Right? But it's weird how like because like I already believe this. I love her every moment, and like in weird moments where like this sounds so cheesy, but like really, like it's so often like Katie and I, maybe the kids are there, or like it's a quiet moment, or like something's like we're at home, and she'll like look at me and she'll be like, "This is a date," and it means a lot.
Yeah.
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 But our classic has always been like if we actually have the time,
Yeah.
and I even have to, like I feel like I have to preface all of this. My lady deserves so much, so much more than I can give her.
Yeah.
She deserves that much.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm really cheap, so what we will do
I got some cheap ideas on here
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
dude.
is we always will go to like the place with the view or the really
Yep.
cool
Yeah.
restaurant
Yeah.
and we appetizer. Just
Yeah.
crap out of that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's so fun sharing and not even it's the atmosphere moment. That's
Yeah.
that's what we both
Totally.
really love doing.
Totally.
Yeah.
I like that.
You even saying that, I'm looking at one of my favorites is the Father Sarah Cross in Ventura,
Oh yeah.
just on top of the hill.
Oh,
Beautiful
man.
views,
I've
great
s-
sunsets over
yeah.
the sea,
Okay.
depending on the season. We've gone stargazing out there.
Yeah.
Just taking like a blanket to the bed of my truck, basically, and
Okay.
just sitting up, enjoying the night sky.
You don't
Is it-
even have to get out and hike up to it.
Not really, no. I mean, you can
Yeah.
But
if you're into that,
Why would-
which we're not. So that's I totally agree. That's like the site.
Yeah.
That is just beautiful nature, basically, with much less effort than a hike. We're also super into the standard dinner and a movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're into talking about films. I'm just gonna rattle these off. Sunrises and sunsets.
Yep.
Never get old.
Nope.
Ever. Walk in the park. There's
Yeah.
the Gardens of the World in TO.
is that cool?
It's a beautiful walk.
Okay.
It's really short, not a hike. The Reagan Library is fantastic.
Let's
Huntington
go.
Library is fantastic. Getty Museum, Getty Villa, all these great like LA spots, especially
Art.
Griffith Observatory. Kind of fun
How
seasonal.
do you get there though? There's like people
We drive.
in cars.
Yeah.
That's usually how it works.
It takes
in LA.
forever. It's
you guys-
California,
Can
dude.
you guys drop us off on our next date?
That's totally fine. We will chaperone.
Thank you.
Ice skating and hot chocolate.
At the same time.
Library dates. If you can get like coffee
Yes.
and like grade together, work together. I was working on my master's when Ken's was still in college.
Okay.
So we had study sessions together.
Oh, that's cool.
Love it.
Walks on the beach or the pier,
Yeah.
especially in Ventura.
Oh my gosh.
Lovely time. Board games together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
super
that-
fun.
yeah.
Super fun. especially if
Jenga.
You can
Jenga.
really? That's not even a board game.
I know,
There's literally no board involved.
but
it's little stick.
why are we
games.
classifying? Okay.
Okay.
Don't
okay,
identify
fine.
that game.
Semantics.
But we love that one.
The Highland Games, if
Classic.
you ever
Let's
see those
go.
come through, dude.
That's
It's the
right.
Scottish
Okay.
Ventura
Olympics.
County Fair. Let's go.
I saw your
It's
post.
pretty
It was
rad.
so cool.
It's
I've been
super
meaning to
fun,
ask you
dude.
about it.
I'll tell you more about it later too.
Okay.
Halloween Horror Nights, Universal Studios.
Really?
That's a very niche thing, I know, but it's one of the first pre-dating dates that I invited Mackenzie to.
That's right.
That she said yes to.
and
Yeah.
she likes.
Well, she didn't. No, she did not. She just wanted to go with me. That was like the cool like test of it. Is like I know she's gonna hate this, but will she say yes? And she did. And I was like, oh, there's something there.
yeah,
She
exactly.
loves
And I
me.
guess kind of with those parks come Disneyland, Magic Mountain, the
Yeah.
standard good go-tos.
Totally.
Then there's the smaller things like escape rooms, which are
So
really
much fun.
expensive if you
So
only go with 2
good.
people.
Yeah.
But group settings,
Yeah.
crazy good
Absolutely.
Yes.
fun. Really fun. I found this in marriage especially to YouTube a homemade dinner that you've never made before. Like, get out some like Gordon Ramsay style stuff, right? And say
Okay.
like, oh, this is some kind of French word that I don't know how to pronounce.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's fun.
So good.
That's how I feel like about hiking. Just like the same thing you
French
said
word?
about that. Like, no, I'm just not gonna touch cooking. Like,
That's fine too.
that's
There you go.
my. I'm like,
Well, this is what though. This is why I say find out what she likes because
Exactly.
Mackenzie loves baking, so we bake
There you go.
together.
Oh,
There you
really?
go.
It's
Yeah.
your thing.
Yeah, we made a tiramisu. Was the last thing we did together, and it was she has this baking book from the Great British Baking Show. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's like the most pleasant television show like,
Okay.
ever.
Okay.
And,
I've heard of it.
It's got recipes like from the show basically that contestants make.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I had on the list was Cinespia,
So
which if you've never heard about it, is this graveyard in Hollywood that plays movies. They project them on the side of this giant
that
white
sounds sweet.
mausoleum, and you basically just bring a blanket out and watch old movies.
Oh.
They have a website. You can check it out.
okay.
It's quite an experience
Cool.
and super fun. And again, just bottom line, the more variety, the better.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do the same thing more than once, and just be intentional about it. Your wife is worth pursuing, and
It doesn't stop when
and
you guys wed.
it doesn't stop when you get married.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't just put a
Yeah.
ring on the finger and say like, all right, cool, I'm gonna be in my room playing Fortnite. Which is a danger of this generation
Wow.
doing that. So
Yeah.
please listen to us, Ninos. Please. Well, that has been today's very long episode of 10 Talks. Until next time, we'll say once again, we love you guys. We'll see you soon.
So much
Take care.
love.